The new moon in Libra on Tuesday, October 21st, calls forward powerful new beginnings in relationships. Ruled by Venus in her domicile, Libra, there's a lot of inspired, balanced, and creative energy on offer. Find out the gifts your sign will receive. My name is Anastasia. I'm a traditional Western astrologer specializing in natal, relationship, and predictive readings. I also teach. All of that is on my website. I'm actually launching a predictive astrology course in the beginning of 2026. Check out anastasiadoesastrology.com for that. If you are new here, welcome. Thank you so much for checking out my channel. If you enjoy my work, please leave me a like, a comment, subscribe, press the notification bell. All of that really helps. Watch more of my content. That's how YouTube algorithm acts friendlier, helps me grow. You can also say thank you by buying me a tea, a coffee, a croissant, some other kind of token of appreciation. I'm very thankful for that. To book a reading, to work with me, as mentioned, you can find it on my website, anastasiadoesastrology.com. I'm a consulting astrologer, have lots of clients, offer guidance, and feel very happy that I can share my wisdom with you. Speaking of that, I am teaching my predictive astrology course. I am currently still teaching the natal astrology course, but in 2026, at the start of it, there will also be a predictive course dedicated to forecasting and mapping the future. So join us to learn how to foresee trends and predict and forecast what's coming up for you. On my website, you can also pick up some of my creations. Speaking of the year to come and forecasting and predicting, my 2026 planner is a powerful tool filled with 227 pages of astrological insight. It has retrograde dates, it has calendars, breakdowns of the months coming up, new and full moon descriptions, rituals, suggestions, and so much more. Highly recommend. Additionally, I'd like to highlight my lunar Jupiter candle. This one captures Jupiter in Cancer, which is what we have right now, co-present with the moon, conjunct the moon actually. So it has this really great energy for manifestation, for drawing in abundance, for boosting your optimism and your good fortune. I especially recommend this for anyone who's trying to reach success in your chosen field. If you lack optimism, and astrologically, if you were born with Jupiter retrograde, Jupiter conjunct Saturn, Jupiter in the 6th, 8th, or 12th houses, and if your Jupiter is in Virgo, Gemini, or Capricorn, which are the signs Jupiter struggles in. So thank you so much for listening. The new moon in Libra happens on Tuesday, October 21st at 8:24 a.m. Eastern. So adjust for your time zone. And it occurs at 28 degrees, 21 minutes of Libra. So you will feel this especially strongly if you have planets between 25, 29 degrees of cardinal signs, which are, of course, Libra, Aries, Cancer, Capricorn. Then it's going to hit your chart in a deeply personal way. And if you ever want to talk about it, about these big transits, personal transits, you can book a reading on my website. You can also get a subscription to get monthly horoscopes either in person or emailed to you. So check out the degrees, look at your planets, see if you have anything in those signs. What I like about this new moon, and what is pretty much a sign of it being really positive, is that the ruler of the new moon is Venus in her home sign. Venus really loves Taurus, and she loves Libra. When she's traveling through those signs, her power is considered to be unimpeded. She's like a queen in her castle. In Libra, she has the charm, she has the grace, she has the playfulness, she has the detachment necessary to not get hung up on things and people. She knows she's worthy. She knows that relationships need to be beautiful and magical and abundant. So we have that going for us. We have this confident, feminine, yin type of energy, right? Venus is not always feminine, but she definitely represents this ability to draw in the things you desire. So on many levels, this new moon is about starting partnerships, relationships, projects, creative projects, right? Everything that expresses your inner power and your sense of self-worth. There are a couple of aspects that the moon is making, but it is separating from them. So When the aspect is applying, it is considered to be stronger because the energy is building up. When it's separating, it is something that has happened and that is impacting our choices, but it's not the primary to be continued type of energy. So one of those aspects is the opposition to Chiron in Aries. So there is a suggestion that part of you needs to be healed, and what needs to be healed is your inner self, your inner child. And basically there is this kind of understanding that you cannot have a good relationship until you choose yourself, until you soothe yourself, until you get to know yourself, right? So for many, this will be something that they've been working on their entire life. For others, maybe it's a new realization that this new moon brings you. And then there is a square to Jupiter in Cancer, also separating. And so I think if we're looking at this as a T-square, which is an aspect between the new moon in opposition to Chiron and then squaring Jupiter, then it's this sort of sense of like needing to heal and maybe a danger of going too far with trying to take care of yourself and take care of other people or take care of your duties. So Libra will remind you of the need for balance, right? This is always kind of quite an important energy with Libra transits and Libra placements. Sorry, I got distracted by my own hair. So there is a need for balance with this new moon, and I think even this T-square aspect is reminding us of that, right? Because we have Chiron in Aries, and then we have the moon in Libra. So it's like me versus us, needing to balance your needs, your desires, your requirements with their needs, their desires, their requirements, the need to find balance. And Jupiter in Cancer is also telling you that, okay, you can't just approach everything from like a rational, cold perspective. You also need to consider the feelings and the good of, you know, the good of the future. And like Jupiter also always wants to create coherence. So I think a lot of this new moon, what it's about is really about like finding balance and finding stability and moving slowly as you can, because the square to Jupiter can suggest, like I said, a tendency to do too much. So I can see new beginnings in relationships. I can see new beginnings in creative collaborations and creative projects, new idea coming your way to express maybe some of the inner pain, right? Business alliances, other kinds of dynamics. Libra is the sign of the other. So it's pretty easy to think that this new moon will highlight relationships. The question is how and what needs to be adjusted. That will be deeply personal based on you, your chart, and your placements. So if you're seeking personal advice, as mentioned, visit my website, register for my predictive astrology course. It begins in March, to learn how to forecast with transits, with annual perfections, with solar return, use all the tools of astrology to create a coherent picture of what's coming up for you. So let's start by looking at Aries rising. If you are an Aries rising, there's a new moon in your 7th house, co-present with the beautiful Venus in Libra. This is the most Libra new moon for you because it's very much about new beginnings in relationships, right? 7th house is your significant connections. It's people you can call in the middle of the night and ask them for help. So the new moon can bring a new person into your life like that, a romantic partner or a business partner or a creative associate, right? Like you, on many levels, decide what you want to call into your life. Venus ruling the new moon, co-present with the new moon, will help you manifest this vision and bring this person that you're actually seeking to bring. If you're in a relationship, this is powerful for commitment, engagement, moving in together, getting pregnant, whatever you're basically working on. 7th house is also a good place for negotiating because Venus rules not only your 7th house of relationships, but 2nd house of money. So if you need to negotiate your lease or your student loan or your work contract, anything like that, even for people who are getting divorced, right? Because the new moon for some of you might be about ending a relationship and you're like, okay, I'm finally free to take care of myself, right? For some it will be about that. So maybe you're ending a connection, a relationship, and you're coming out of it with a significant financial reward. For more, visit my website to book a personal reading or register for my predictive astrology course. It begins in March and it will look at the transits, annual perfections, solar returns, and all the other techniques necessary to foretell the future. If you are a Taurus rising, there's a new moon in your 6th house, and Venus, your chart ruler, is also here, drawing even more attention to your health. Health. I got excited. To your health, right? Your work, your professional life. Like, what is out of balance? What is out of whack? What needs to be adjusted? Because she rules you, she rules your physical body, and she rules your house of work and problem solving. So maybe there is a need to rebalance how much time you spend at work, how much time you spend relaxing. New beginnings at work may include working from home. They may involve working remotely, right? Or maybe changing some of your involvement with your colleagues. The new beginnings can, of course, bring something new into your life, like a brand new project, a brand new exercise routine, even like a brand new habit or a way to take care of your body. But it can also be, like I keep thinking, right? Like what needs to be rebalanced in your life. So balancing things may sometimes suggest creating a better schedule, maybe letting go of bad habits, maybe streamlining. Think of 6th house as like all the things you have to do, right? It's your to-do list. It's your grocery shopping, your teeth brushing, your laundry. And so the new moon here might be like, well, what if I hire someone to help me with that? Or what if I start getting my food delivered, right? Like, how can you create balance between the grind and things you have to do and resting and taking joy and having pleasure in life? And please share how this resonates. Are you considering any rebalancing in your life? And for more, to book a personal reading, visit my website. You can also register for my predictive astrology course to learn how to forecast the future and map your life trajectory. All of that is at anastasia.astrology.com. If you are a Gemini rising, the new moon is happening in your 5th house. So we have new beginnings in the sector of personal pleasure, personal joy, and childlike wonder. The house of your creative energy. And Venus is here. She is not only in rulership in Libra, but for you Gemini risings, she's also in her house joy. So your mind is very much like on how can I maximize my creative potential? How can I create life of beauty and love and rest? How can I support myself in retirement? How can I have a job that allows me to travel, right? Like how can I spend more time with my child? There are a lot of possibilities here, and Venus rules your 12th house as well. So for some, the possibilities may involve spiritual passions like studying astrology. My predictive course begins in March 2026. You should join. Or moving, or like doing work that is maybe more remote. Some kind of like, 12th house is connected to working behind the scenes and like withdrawing on some level, or exploring your spirituality. So this is a very personal house, and it will be a very personal new moon for you. But there might be a sense here that you are feeling off balance, right? And you're trying to figure out how to connect with your inner child and inspire more joy in your life. And then for others, it could be about their relationship, right? And moving a relationship to the next level, making things official, or dating, beginning to date somebody new, getting pregnant, having a baby. New possibilities very much can be quite like, tangible in this regard, but it can also encourage you to start building life for yourself that is filled with joy and pleasure. Do share how this resonates. For more, visit my website to book a reading, to register for my classes, and get all of my lovely creations. If you are a Cancer rising, there's a new moon in your 4th house ruled by the beautiful Venus that is co-present with the new moon. So here we're looking at new beginnings in your foundational sector, in your sector of home, property, your sector of family. So foundations, right? It could be about your real life home and bringing some kind of change there, new beginnings. You're moving to a new house. You are adding another floor to your house. You're adding a pool. You're buying a property. Family, new beginnings in the family, a new family member, a family member moving in with you or family member moving out, some kind of change in the family dynamics. And then 4th house is also the place of comfort and security, and Libra is connected to balance. So on a deeper level, you're going to get a chance to look at like what is off balance in your life. And it's easy to think of the 4th as just like, oh, something's going to happen in the home or family, but balance and comfort is very different for different people. Venus rules your 11th house, right? So maybe you're having to balance your home and your need for rest with your social aspirations, with your love for friendships and for hanging out with others. So like some type of a need to maybe shuffle things around and figure out a way to create more peace and beauty in your life. Maybe you're adding an art studio or an art space or buying a, what is it called? A weasel? Easel? What is the name of the thing you paint on? Canvas? I don't know. I feel like there's a different name. If you know the name, do tell me, because I feel like I am confused. Easel. I think that's what it is, right? Easel. Okay. Weasel is in my name. So in my mind. So yeah, so maybe a need to like also look at your family relationships and figure out what needs to be balanced, right? There may be a sense that some relationships are taking too much time, or maybe you need to prioritize your relationship with family and sort of create some kind of changes there. If you're seeking personal advice, visit my website to book a reading. You can also register for one of my classes on there. If you are a Leo rising, there's a new moon in your 3rd house. Here we're looking at the house of everyday life, your schedule, your communication, your siblings, your neighbors, your routes, your technology, your car, everything that is in your life. And Venus is ruling this new moon, and she also rules your 10th house of career. So here you get this opportunity to create new beginnings in your everyday life in a way that maybe helps you get to your ideal career or your ideal public visibility and public life. And so the new moon in the 3rd can be something really small or seemingly small. It could be about buying new technology for your YouTube channel, or updating your car, or maybe even starting to take a different route to work, to maybe take a more scenic route, right? Like something is changing that is seemingly minute, but it brings more joy and pleasure your way. But it can also be about a new passion, a new skill, a new hobby, a business idea, right? Like a new moon in the 3rd can encourage you to start a business, to commit to a passion project or a skill that you have, where maybe you like to paint or you like to write poetry, and you decide to write a book, or you decide to start painting for a living, right? New beginnings in a life of a sibling. They're getting pregnant, they're getting married. New beginnings in your relationship with a sibling. Maybe you're starting a partnership together. Even a chance to move, maybe, or get a new neighbor is likely. Working with a neighbor, dating a neighbor is a possibility. So that will be a new beginning in your everyday life, if suddenly your daily routine gets changed by the fact that you're dating someone who lives in your building. Do share how this resonates. For more, visit my website to book a personal reading and to register for my predictive astrology course. It begins in March 2026. If you are a Virgo rising, there's a new moon in your second house of money and values, suggesting a new salary, an increase in payment, a new money-making opportunity. What's interesting is Venus is the ruler of this new moon, and she's here in your second house, blessing your financial sector. And she also rules your ninth house. So she might connect your finances to education. Maybe you're starting to teach. Maybe you're starting to learn. Maybe you're actually investing with this new moon into learning about something. I'm teaching an astrology course, a predictive this time. I'm going to probably continue doing this with teaching natal astrology in the fall and predictive astrology in the spring. So fun. check out my website for that. But yeah, like maybe you're investing into something. Maybe you're starting to work in a religious sector, which is what ninth house represents, or as a therapist, as some kind of like social worker, investing into a 401k or some kind of, just making investments, launching a business, starting a new job as well. This could be like a very, you've been looking for work, now you find it, and now the money's coming in because all these things are happening. Do share how this resonates and visit my website for my courses, to book a reading, and more. My lovely Libra rising, this is new moon in your first house. This is your personal happy birthday. So happy birthday, Libra rising. It's your new moon. You get it once a year. It's a new beginning. And you can be whoever you want to be, right? Because first house new moons, they ask a question of like, who are you? What do you want to be known for? So we're looking at your goals and your personal ambitions and personal projects. It could be anything from maybe publishing a book, which is, I guess, pretty big, right? To doing travel for a living, to becoming an astrologer, to changing your home, right? It's like deeply personal. So it should be coming from your inner core and inner being. It could also be connected to your health, your style, and your look. So the new moon in the first house can be the time to like change your hair, to upgrade your wardrobe, to do your nails, or to transform something about your image and transform something about your body. Figuring out a new way to sort of treat your body and take care of your body might be prominent at this point. The ruler is Venus. She's in your first house, so she's boosting your charm and grace and shininess. And she also rules your 8th house. So there's also a sense of like new beginnings that involve 8th house. So maybe it's about working with other people. Maybe it's about getting engaged. Maybe it's about getting married to someone and your identity is changing through that. Maybe it's about getting divorced and now you have some money that like your alimony or something. 8th house can also be about spiritual interests and, being more interested in death and birth and esoteric and mysteries and astrology. So your identity can also be changing because you're starting to embrace this more invisible and mysterious facet of your personality. And if you are ready to embrace it, register for my Predictive Astrology Mapping the Future course. It begins in March 2026 and it will be dedicated to forecasting and using transit, solar return, annual perfections, and more to predict your future. If you are a Scorpio rising, the new moon is happening in your 12th house. So here we're looking at the sector of privacy, isolation, spirituality, mental health, invisible, self-defeating problems and tendencies. And so the new moon here could be about, on one hand, it could be about letting go of some bad habits, right? People pleasing, overindulging, avoiding conflict, or it could be about maybe allowing yourself to rest a little bit, allowing yourself to enjoy beauty, allowing yourself to sort of chill and have a good time, right? The new moon in the 12th house can also encourage you to ask for help if you're struggling with something, to lean on a therapist or to talk about your feelings, to maybe consult an astrologer. If you do, I am here, Anastasia.astrology.com. It can also be about embracing your psychic gifts and talents and maybe turning them into a side quest or a main quest, right? Maybe you're turning that into your career. Venus is ruling this new moon, and she also rules your 12th house, and she's in the 12th house, so she rules 7th and 12th. And so I feel like it's very much about relationships, partnerships, and either what you need to release or whereas you need to like recommit to yourself and maybe even like prioritize yourself and your need for rest. Do share how this resonates and visit my website for my courses and my personal readings. If you are a Sagittarius rising, there's a new moon in your 11th house, bringing new beginnings to your sector of community. You're maybe stepping into a different role, becoming more visible, becoming a leader of your local volunteer organization, of your maybe even if you have kids, some kind of association like of mothers in the school, right? Or joining your HOA board or becoming a president of your college class, something like that. So there are new beginnings. Joining people for the sake of work. So like maybe starting a new job as well, I can see here, because Venus is the ruler and she's in the 11th and rules the 11th, but also rules the 6th. So new job, new connections coming through that job, right? Like new colleagues, but also maybe you are stepping up to help solve some kind of issue. You're maybe driven and motivated by like a need to create social change. And so speaking up, volunteering, getting involved with big, important issues is quite likely at this time for you, Sag risings. If you're looking for more, book a reading on my website. You can also register for my predictive astrology course. All of that is on my website. If you are a Capricorn rising, there's a new moon in your 10th house, the house of career, status, reputation, and public life. This is a very important new moon because it's all about what are you known for in the world. How do you present yourself? What are your passions? What are your interests? And so this is going to be about professional new beginnings, starting a business, starting a new job, right? Starting a new project, getting recognition, presenting a project you've been working on, getting a raise. There are a lot of possibilities that can show up. The ruler is Venus, and she is in Libra, so she's blessing this new moon with extra strength and strong desire to create balance and beauty. And she rules your 10th house and your 5th house. So the new beginnings might involve children, if we're thinking that you're maybe becoming like a kindergarten teacher, or you are maybe quitting your job to be with your child. They may also include creativity, because 5th house is a very creative place. So starting a new project that involves writing, singing, dancing, acting. I think there is like a strong energy here, similarly to what I was talking about with Gemini risings, because of the 5th house connection, of figuring out what brings you joy when it comes to your work. Like, are you just doing something to pay the bills, or are you working on your passions? And if you can figure out a way to work on your passions, try to find a way, right? So this could be like a good moon for rediscovering inspiration and joy and fulfillment. For more, visit my website to book a personal reading and check out my courses. I am going to begin teaching again in March 2023, this time around predictive astrology. If you are an Aquarius rising, there's a new moon in your 9th house. It is going to be about new beginnings in your philosophical view of the world, which could be a lot of different things, right? But on a more sort of tangible way, this could be new beginnings that involve education, graduating or going back to school, studying or teaching. they can involve travel, both again, sort of mentally with maybe you're learning a foreign language, but that's still part of education, or physically going on a trip. Even relocating can be seen here. Ninth house is also connected to legal matters. So maybe you're starting some kind of legal matter. Maybe you're applying for a visa. And it's also the place of religion and philosophy and faith. So on this more spiritual level, your worldview might be changing. Your beliefs might be changing. You're maybe embracing some kind of religion or spirituality or astrology, right? Like ninth house has traditionally always been the house of astrology. If you want to learn astrology, my predictive course begins in March 2026, so you can join us. It is recommended to know astrology on some level, to be kind of an intermediate student ideally, or someone who knows like natal astrology and aspects and other things, but you can definitely join. I mean, you should know those things because we're not going to be doing the basics. But yeah, it can help you like predict things and use astrology to your advantage. So the new moon in the ninth house can be subtle, can be like really visible. And for those in writing and publishing, this can also be about like presenting your work somehow. New beginnings may show up also as like a new teacher coming into your life. Maybe you're starting to date someone foreign, or you're getting into long distance relationship. Do share how this resonates, and for joining my course or booking a reading, visit anastasiadoesastrology.com. If you are a Pisces rising, there's a new moon in your 8th house. So with 8th house, we're looking at the sector of debts, loans, shared finances, partners' money, and also these like intimate involvements with other people. So on one level, this could be an opportunity to pay off a debt and maybe transform your finances to create more balance, right? To figure out some kind of schedule. Venus rules this new moon. It's in your 8th house. It is blessing you with sort of financial rewards and financial benefits. So you may be even receiving a bonus at this time. But Venus also rules your 3rd house, and that's where this energy of like needing to figure out better logistics comes in, and maybe figure out like a payment schedule for paying off your debt. The new moon in the 8th could be about getting in a partnership with someone. 8th house is by nature very collaborative, and this could be a creative partnership. This could be a psychic connection or like a business connection with someone where maybe you're negotiating new agreements and negotiating professional relationships. This could even be a marriage or an engagement, because 8th house could be this sort of intimate relationship, new beginning, right? New beginning in terms of like, well, we were single and separate and now we're going to be together, and how are we going to share? Finally, 8th house is also a place of mysteries and invisible things. So for some of you, the new moon in the 8th house may be about embracing your psychic talents and your intuition and your love for astrology and tarot and Reiki. And if you want to invest more into astrology and you already have the basic knowledge of the planets, houses, aspects, and zodiac signs, register for my predictive astrology course. We begin again in March, continuing to study. So join me for that. And all of that is on my website. You can also book a personal reading, check out all of my offerings, all of my products, sign up for my newsletter, say hello. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I would really appreciate that if you do. Leave me some kind of like or comment, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.